What is going on, everybody? It is episode 745 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here once again with my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary, and today we have actual talent in the building. Phil.
Hello, everybody. I am actual talent. My name is Phil Labonte. I am the lead singer of the heavy metal band All That Remains. That's why I think that she's saying that I'm actual talent. I'm an anti-communist and I'm a counter-revolutionary. That's probably got nothing to do with talent.
I like the idea that he just starts calling himself Phil Actual Talent Labonte.
Instead of failed musician or talent
That's
terrorist.
way better. That's way
Actually,
better.
Talent terrorist is just still the best. It's always
best.
going to stick.
I do love...
Yeah, especially when you know the context, how ridiculous that...
And how things have played out over
Since
time.
then.
Since then, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do love how that meme, that picture of you, that video of you laughing became like a meme on Twitter. Yeah.
Wait,
have you
what
seen that
meme?
one? It's not a
have.
meme. It's a video that gets reposted.
There was a video that I took one time. Someone said something, and I just was like... I filmed myself just going, ha! Just one big laugh. And
I see it reposted places.
I posted it like whenever someone says something really ridiculous, I'll post that, or something where they're getting clowned. When it came out that Destiny was S-ing a D, there was a video of him S-ing a D.
I heard.
I was like,
fortunately, did not see.
No, I didn't see any video. And I mean, look. Never mind.
There's nothing funny about it.
Yes,
it's very serious.
It's hilarious that it exists.
Yeah.
Guys, before we get started, would you hit the like button on this video, please, and subscribe to this channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed already. Please and thank you. Remember to also share these videos and live streams with your friends, your family, loved ones, people you like, people you don't like. Perhaps if you have a mortal enemy, you could share it with them as well, though I don't know how you'd contact them. That'd be kind of cool if you had like a back and forth communication with them. And also remember that sharing the video with your friends is the best way to help this show, and that we don't just post the live stream every day. We also break this show up into segments so that people who don't have the time to watch the show live can check those out. We post those
or the attention span.
Or the attention. I mean, that's me for the most part with everything. We put new segments up every day at 8, noon, and then we also put them up at night, 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. So one of the best ways you can help this show, if you do not catch us live, is to check those segments out on the channel. Leave a comment, perhaps. It's a good way to help us. So what are we getting into today? Well, I knew Mary would like this. I sent her this late last night when I saw it, which is that Selena Gomez is getting married to a male feminist, a musician named Benny Blanco, who she despises.
Yes, we talked about him when he was featured in...
Selena Gomez despises, my bad.
No, Mary despises.
Well, I can only hope that eventually she will, but...
Yes.
He was featured in People's Sexiest Man Alive because
Mary
Mary
took that personally.
Yes, I did. He is in touch with his emotions, and he's a male feminist, and he paints his toenails, and he likes throwing dinner parties, and he's a fashionista, and all of this stuff. It's just a pile of red flags, and there are even more to get into. Apparently, he's a fetishist.
Okay, I don't know about that part. There was a whole like episode of the podcast of the Lotus Eaters talking about the idea of the new man in Britain in the early 2000s, and
the
that's
Lotus Eaters is a great podcast.
Yeah, like
subscribe.
Talking about that. But so we'll get into that. We are also going to talk about Pornhub has their year in review. I'm trying to be family friendly here. Cornhub.
Yeah, because look, when you say prawn, I just think of like shrimp from other countries.
I know. Well, they have their year in review, and guess what, guys? The Brainrot has leaked even into the corn industry. So we're going to talk about that. And speaking of Brainrot, it is now an official medical diagnosis that Gen Z is suffering from via this new study. So we're going to get into that.
I mean, it's not just Gen Z. You said you have it.
Oh, I have it bad. Depending on the day, it's worse than other days. But I looked down the list of symptoms, and I'm not one of those
like check.
I'm not one of those people. I don't sit on
WebMD trying to convince yourself that you're dying.
I'm usually the person who's saying like leave it be. You'll be fine. But I looked at all those. I'm like yeah. But that could be from anything except for I do all of the things it's telling you not to do, which is to spend too much time online, doom scroll.
I know I do.
Yeah. So we got that. We got a bunch of other stuff.
We all do, don't we?
We all do. It's,
hazard of the job.
It's embarrassing, but it's like I almost feel less embarrassed by my inordinate screen time because I know it's a collective problem. Which is
You're not
so
alone
illogical.
here. You're not alone.
It's so
here.
illogical because it's still my behavior at the end of the day. But I feel like, oh, but like everyone has this problem, so I'm less bad.
Well, what do you mean by everyone? Like everyone that you are in contact with regularly,
Most
or everyone
people-
in your age group?
I feel like most people in this day and age have a smartphone and use it too much.
Yes.
Fair
so,
enough.
yeah, I feel less guilty almost because everyone's doing it,
All right.
which is totally nonsense.
We're gonna get into it. We'll talk about it.
That's addict behavior.
Yes.
Everyone else is smoking weed. Why shouldn't I?
Hey, everyone else is shooting black tar heroin.
You know?
Why shouldn't I?
Look,
Look, man, when it comes to cigarettes,
Your Honor, to be in my defense, everyone else was doing it too.
Yeah.
All right. If you guys are ready, we'll get started. Mary, you ready?
Let's go.
let's go.
All right. Well, first things first, let's talk about Elton John's boomer takes on weed. Speaking of drug addiction.
Yeah, speaking of drugs, Elton John is a hater of weed culture, and he talked about this in a recent interview with Time magazine. He called the legalization of marijuana in America and Canada one of the greatest mistakes of all time. And he has plenty of experience with being stoned
he's
and
29
taking
years
other drugs
sober.
as well.
He's 29 years sober as
Yeah.
of 2019, so he's over 30 years sober now. He's got a lot. Look, and my joke earlier is, as you guys know, I'm in recovery. So I have my own unique thoughts on this, but I just laugh because nowadays so much of the culture is progress. So much of the culture from celebrities is we need to go further into progressivism, and he's over here just like, no, I'm good. Like,
Not on this
he's like, the
issue, at
neocons got it right back.
Yeah.
I can
so-
appreciate it, even if I don't necessarily agree with him. I can appreciate the stance.
Elton John said, I maintain that weed is addictive. It leads to other drugs. And when you're stoned, and I've been stoned, you don't think normally. Legalizing marijuana in America and Canada is one of the greatest mistakes of all time. They reported that he's helped several other artists recover from addictions since going sober himself. He served as Eminem's sponsor, and he sent British pop star Robbie Williams to his first trip to rehab.
And Donatella Versace.
I didn't know that.
Elton John supported Donatella Versace in her battle with addiction. He encouraged her to seek help and spoke publicly about the importance of addressing addiction openly.
One performer he was unable to help was George Michael, however.
And Whitney Houston.
Yep. He
Yep.
said he was first introduced to cocaine in the mid-70s. He overdosed, he
Yep.
said, in 1974.
3, I think.
5.
No,
And
he
it
said
was
1975. 1975.
introduced to him by his lover turned manager, John Reed. He explained that his views on marijuana stem from his personal battles with addiction. He said, you make terrible decisions on drugs. I wanted love so badly, I would take hostages. I'd see someone I liked and spend 3 or 4 months together, and then they would resent me because they had nothing in their life apart from me. It really upsets me thinking back on how many people I probably hurt.
Well, I mean,
I think that comes from a genuine place.
One of the core tenets in recovery, especially if you've gotten clean and are doing well, is the ability to be introspective towards your behavior when you were using. And if he's done that, a good amount, then he probably has a lot of regrets towards his behavior in the past. And if he had been more, this happened to me, I'd be more weary. But he seems to be pretty open about the things that he had done on that behavior, while using substances. But again, my take on this was more like, I don't actually necessarily agree. I'm not I'm not a stickler when it comes to substance use. I really do believe that despite the mistakes that I made, that they were my choices and I should have been free as an adult to make them. But I do laugh because he's been openly pro-LGBTQ advocacy for obviously a very long time, and progressivism tends to be like a clump of views that you have to take all or nothing in their industry. Like, you're not allowed to be like pro this and anti that, especially on the left. You have to take all the views and pretend like they're all good, right?
And that they're all coherent.
Exactly,
together.
even if they're not. So I can appreciate the break from the norm.
Well, I'm sure you two can guess how I feel about marijuana.
How do you feel about it, Mary?
But how about you guys? Do you feel that weed culture has gone too far?
So you're talking about two different things there. So when you talk about marijuana, I don't think that I don't think people should be put in prison for using marijuana. I think weed culture is horrible. And it's horrible, not just, it has negative effects, but it's far more annoying to the rest of the world. Like the whole like, man, I gotta smoke weed all the time. That where people make a lifestyle out of smoking weed. I used to smoke pot. I don't smoke pot anymore. And it was never a part of my personality. I would smoke weed and people never knew. I didn't have to go ahead and be like, oh man, if I don't get to smoke weed soon, I'm gonna die. And oh man, I haven't smoked in, a couple hours and blah, blah, blah. That's all just annoying. But I also don't think that people should be put in jail for possessing or using marijuana.
Also, it seems to be objectively true these days that alcohol is far more dangerous.
It is
far more dangerous to the average person. And,
you mean in terms of drunk driving?
Well, not just drunk driving, but for instance, alcohol addiction is one of the few besides benzodiazepines where you can actually die from withdrawal.
Yeah.
Like you can need it so bad that you can die, but because of the financial market cap on things like that, that's never going to be illegal. And we tried prohibition. Styx did a video the other day on this that I thought was very good and kind of echoed my more laissez-faire sentiments on this issue. But I just laugh because I just think in Hollywood these days that they get like a checklist of things you're allowed to believe, and then when you deviate, it's kind of funny because we did cover. I don't know if it was an episode you were gone. Were you there in the day we covered when Elton John talked about talking about Rocket Man and Donald Trump and how he's like, I thought it was brilliant. And I was like, is he allowed to say that?
He's old. He's allowed to do whatever he wants.
To do whatever he wants. But now he's blaming Trump for his musical failing.
Yeah, they say that his new musical Tammy Faye opened and closed on Broadway in the span of less than a month, making it one of the biggest flops of the year. And he blames the culture that resulted from Trump's victory in the election for this.
I don't agree with that.
He says, it's a shame for everyone who put so much work into it, but that's what happens when you take a chance. It's a fairly political piece of work, and with that, you have to press somebody's buttons. The buttons we pressed last night with the critics weren't the right ones. So he's blaming the failure on the mood of the culture after the election of Trump. I have no idea what that means.
I don't know. Like, I mean, it just seems like kind of cope from a creative. Again,
Broadway critics are as lib as they get.
Have any of these creators ever been like literally think about all of the stories that we've covered? Has anybody ever come up and been like, yeah, thought it was going to work, but I guess it just didn't. That sucks. Like, I'll try to do better next time. Like, can you imagine how like revelatory that would be if a dude was like, wow, guess people just didn't like my work. I'll try better next time.
I'm sure there's been at least one example of that type of response, right?
Maybe. I can't think of any. I feel like it would be so monumental that I would remember.
They always just come up with an excuse for their own failure that blames other people for not getting it.
Yeah. Well, that's the big argument these days. Have you been seeing the people on X talking about how the only reason Breaking Bad happened is because of the healthcare industry?
What?
Have you seen this? So the media literacy folks, the people who they like to tell you, like, if you don't like something that they like, it's because you're stupid and you don't get it. Or if you like something that they like for a different reason, they think you're stupid. And they're like, well, imagine if in Breaking Bad he had been diagnosed with cancer and then he just had like great health care. Then he doesn't have to sell meth. I'm not understanding that it has nothing to do with that and people offered to pay his medical bills for him and that it's about power.
We have a 20 from Doc Flash. Hey guys, I love hearing from Phil. Phil, would your bandmates want to come into here or on Timcast? I would love to hear from Ivan Moody from FFDP. Would he ever want to go onto Timcast or here?
I don't know for sure if All That Remains would want to come down and do a show. We're politically very different. Like the people in the band are not all. I wouldn't consider all the people in the band and All That Remains right-wingers at all. Some are politically indifferent. Some are fairly, have fairly oppositional views to mine. So, yeah, I don't know that...
I mean, that's a beautiful thing that you guys can still work together.
It's
be
something
friends
that...
and...
Yeah, I mean, well, it's something that's part of the reason why, I'm here and I do this kind of stuff is because my goal is to be able to talk to people that disagree and I'd like to see the far crazy leftists isolated and have the normal Democrats come back to talking to regular, right wingers and conservatives and stuff. And I think that's the only way to avoid, significant breakdown in the country.
And that's never going to happen on Twitter. Like, that's like, well, what I've noticed is, like, I actually like to spend more time in the For You tab because that's all I ever do. It's all people I don't agree with. And I love that.
We have another 20 from Weary Traveler. There's been a cultural shift since the election, but people who enjoy Broadway plays weren't Trump fans to begin with. Yeah,
that is true.
Came up with a random excuse that made it seem like it wasn't his mistake, it was theirs. He's not entirely anti-Trump, though.
No. It seems like they were friends before all of this stuff happened and whatnot. But they gave some stats that I thought was very interesting on the growth of marijuana use amongst young people, and that doesn't shock me at all. But again, I'm just happy to hear like somebody from an old class of progressives who reminds us that you don't have to fall in line with all of the same beliefs all the time.
We have another 20 from Kenneth Hart. Love the lighting. It reminds me of my indoor grow lights, which reminds me, Mary, what do you have against men that are into gardening? It was a while back. I rarely get to super chat because I listen while driving my semi.
Well, thank you for listening while driving your semi.
Did I
first of all
say something against men who are into gardening? That sounds like something I would say.
It does.
It's just so domesticated. I don't know. Like, if
growing your own food is never a bad idea.
Look, I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I just don't like it.
There's nothing more masculine than farming.
Farming and gardening are two different things. What if he's just planting flowers because they're pretty?
Well, okay, so you do have a point there.
So that just kind of wasn't the most attractive hobby, in my opinion, for men.
Well,
we were talking. That's what we were doing. We were ranking, men's hobbies.
What if they have a bonsai tree?
What
if they have a bonsai tree?
Bonsai tree? That's kind of cool.
Okay.
Yeah. That's different. That's different.
Like, that was originally what I was going to get my dad for Christmas this year, was a
bonsai tree.
Not a chia pet?
Not a chia pet.
Heard those are making a
Yeah,
comeback.
I heard that. All right. So again, guys, it's just very interesting to me, given that he is who he is. I also saw that he was going blind. He said that he's lost
almost
all his
entirely blind now. Yeah.
I still consider Elton John a treasure of sorts within the entertainment industry.
Do you guys believe the conspiracy that Stevie Wonder is actually faking it?
No.
That's been a theory for so many years.
That would be the greatest if that was actually true.
Kind of a flex if you can keep up the ruse for that long. We have another 20 from Cartoon Post. If you look at my stats, it looks like I use the internet all the time at an insane amount, but 50% of the time I'm listening to podcasts like PCC in the background while doing stuff, and 25% of the time using YouTube to do research for my own YouTube videos and finding clips and stuff to put into them. If it wasn't for those two factors, I'd probably be one of the only Gen Zers who doesn't even use social media, TBH.
Well, that's not like, it looks like you're using it in a more like proactive way.
I definitely listen to podcasts while I'm in the middle of doing stuff. Yeah. And it's because
Do you take anything in? Do you actually retain it? Maybe it's because I can't listen to stuff in like my one good ear while I'm doing other things, because it feels like it destroys my sense of like what's going on around me. Mm-hmm. But if I'm driving, I can.
I would not be able to retain a book. Yeah. Like, I couldn't listen to audiobooks, but with podcasts, definitely. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's do what do we got next?
Heretic. Yeah. Heretic is a recent film that I briefly considered watching in theaters. It seemed sort of interesting. And I learned that Mormons are really against this movie. It's actually about two young missionaries who are forced to prove their faith when they knock on the wrong door and are greeted by a diabolical Mr. Reed, played by Hugh Grant, becoming ensnared in his deadly game of cat and mouse. And the trailer was somewhat interesting. I was intrigued where it would go. But there's apparently a faction of Mormons in Utah who find this movie incredibly offensive because of its stigmatizing portrayal of Mormonism and specifically Mormon missionaries. They say it made its digital debut this week and it's receiving high praise from viewers at home, but Mormons are recommending the show The Chosen instead.
Makes sense.
The A24 movie centers on two young female missionaries from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, played by Sophie Thatcher and Chloe East, who visit the secluded home of Mr. Reed. He's on their list of potential converts, but when they begin their discussion about religion, Sister Barnes and Sister Paxton soon realize that Mr. Reed has far more nefarious plans in store. This not only raises questions about the relevance of religion in modern times, but the two missionaries are also shown discussing or even engaging in risque topics like sex, porn, and contraception. I looked at the parents' guide, actually.
Okay.
There is no scene that shows them participating in those topics,
No.
just talking about them with him.
I saw the movie.
Oh,
What'd you think? Did you like it?
No, I thought it was the overall point of the movie was a very midwit take on religion as a whole. It was very, religion's just another way to control you and blah, blah, blah. It was a very teenage, angst, stupid, midwit, like I said, very midwit take on religion. If you're you don't have to be religious. I'm personally agnostic, but I don't have a negative view on religion. And if you boil religion down to, it's just a way that they can control you, you're a midwit. You really are. Religion is ubiquitous in human society. It doesn't matter where or when, no matter how far the societies are in time or how far societies are in space. Every human society has had religion, some kind of religion. Maybe it's not like the Abrahamic religions, but religion is ubiquitous to human beings. It is not as simple as just a means of control when it's something that is ubiquitous to human beings. So if you take if you believe that it is just someone telling you what to do, you're an angsty teenager and you should probably stop talking about religion.
Yeah, this seems like a movie that came out like 15 years too late. Maybe even 20 years too late.
Yeah, 15 years is probably an underguess.
Because that
longer.
subject matter, as you said, it's just dated and
so
boring and overplayed.
Well, they could fix this in Hollywood by policing their own. Like whenever somebody's like, I got this great idea about a movie about religion, and then they give that pitch, and then everybody just laughs at them.
Yeah, that would actually really be good.
So this Utah-based publication that is published by a Mormon church argued that Heretic, at a time when a majority of people believe religious stereotypes need to be addressed by society, it joins a growing line of Hollywood vehicles that are dismissive of what believers find sacred.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Tonal issues.
Eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, eat the cat.
Okay.
So this says, the Church of Latter-day Saints expresses concern regarding the movie's portrayal of violent treatment against women of faith, specifically. Most people of faith already feel their religion is mocked and ridiculed in pop culture. True. Then they want to see a more respectful representation of them in media. This says, like many Hollywood productions, this is a work of fiction not based on actual events, and it portrays the graphically violent treatment of women, including people of faith and those who provide volunteer service to their communities. Any narrative that promotes violence against women because of their faith or undermines the contributions of volunteers runs counter to the safety and well-being of our communities. Our commitment is to foster a culture of respect, empowerment, and safety for all individuals.
I want to point out that the complaints from the Mormon Church are lame as hell as well.
Why are they lame?
Because it is all just PC repetition of the thing. They're saying PC things that are of little substance. The idea, it portrays these people bad and it portrays blah, 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 blah. It's a weak, lame protest, and they should have had. And I'm sure that I know that there are smart Mormons. They should have had someone smart actually write the reason, write a better reason.
What
to
their
criticize.
reasoning was, why they're angry about it.
Well, it seems like the movie wasn't even particularly targeting Mormonism. It was targeting religion in general, from what you said.
Yes.
There's a 20 there from
specifically anything that's like an Abrahamic religion or adjacent to Christianity.
Yep.
Weary Traveler said, I used to be Mormon, and the Mormon Church gets very anal about any depiction of missionaries that's not in their own produced media. We had a whole lecture about the BOM play in my ward when it came to my city.
Okay.
I don't know what play you're referring to.
There's another 20.
Incompetent Hands said Justified season 1 episode 4. Alan Ruck admits that it was the elf from Rudolph that made him want to become a dentist. To which Raylan shouts, "You mean the little gay dude? Love Brett. Hey Mary, need a co-host with recognition. Sup Phil."
Something.
That is 110% true. That is 110% true, and I completely forgot about that. I just rewatched that episode recently where, like, he gets, like this patient comes in and abuses his, like, secretary. So he goes out and he pulls the fillings out of his mouth with the pliers in a car.
My theory about the dentist elf being an allegory for LGBT exclusion was confirmed.
Apparently, I completely forgot about that.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Their
BLM is Book of
criticisms
Mormon, they say.
don't exactly make sense. They're kind of trying to make it about violence against women when really it's about dismissiveness of religion in general. And we see that played out in Hollywood so often.
And really, is there even a return on investment on these types of stories these days when the people who love to dunk on religion aren't necessarily going to watch these movies, even if they are of the intellectual level that would find this enjoyable?
I would be more likely to go watch this
Exactly.
movie,
And the ones that
ironically.
don't, most other people are like, look, you're not going to give a fair take. You're going to, oh, look, there's a Catholic dude. He's the bad guy. Shocking. I knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, being critical of religion is very, very, very overplayed. Like, it's just so weak, and it's such a bad narrative. Like, it's far more creative nowadays to come up with a way to lionize religion, even if you don't believe in the particular religion you're lionizing. Come up with a reason to explain why religion has been again ubiquitous throughout human history. Why, instead of sitting there just saying, oh, we're gonna go ahead and say, I'm an angsty teen, because that's the exact argument they always make is, oh, religion's just trying to keep you down. It's just
trying
the
to
man
tell me what to do with my
and
pee-pee.
it's so exhaustingly boring. It is such an absolute yawn fest.
Yeah.
And if you're actually a creative writer, you wouldn't try to pass off a story that's been told 1.5 billion times that is literally equivalent to a teenager complaining that they have to go to school.
Not all of them are as blatant as this. Like Conclave, for instance, also came out this year. And I think the deviant message in a movie like that is harder to unearth. In that movie,
I mean, it was more layered and.
Yeah, we talked about this, I think, when you were out of town. But
I was out of town.
The premise of that movie is that they are trying to elect a new pope in the Catholic Church, and there's a lot of palace intrigue in the Vatican. Eventually, you find out that they have elected a transgender pope.
Oh.
And that's the point of the movie. Or there was also Sydney Sweeney's movie Immaculate that came out earlier this year. I found that very subversive, and it's really just being subversive for the sake of it. In that movie, she conceives like I didn't watch it, but it sounds like from the descriptions of the movie, she conceives some kind of like demon baby or like Antichrist.
Okay. Well.
And she's subjected to
basically
like torture by the church.
Religion in the horror genre is even more prevalent, and probably still more interesting to the people that are watching it because they're not there necessarily for the religious element as much as they are there for the horror element.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm glad that I didn't go to see this movie since you said it was so boring and a yawn fest.
It wasn't. No, it wasn't. It wasn't super boring. The acting was fine. The cinematography was fine. The way that the story progresses was okay, but the underlying point of the show or of the movie that religion's just a means of control. I wouldn't go see it again, but I wasn't like bummed that I went to see it, and I wasn't like sitting there like, God, I'm so bored. Da, da, da. There was enough.
That's Mary most of the time.
There was enough tension, and it is a kind of a horror movie, so there was enough tension and stuff where you're like, all right, so this is kind of interesting and stuff. But at the end of the day, the whole argument at like when the big reveal at the end, when they get through the guy was kind of making like a riddle and trying to get the girls to figure out what he was talking about. Like when the big reveal is, you're just like, oh, so you're just saying that it's that you're mad at your dad.
Yeah.
That's the big relief.
All right.
Reveal.
Let's move on.
Taylor Swift's
Yes.
obsession is causing the divorce of thousands of marriages. Okay, I could be exaggerating it, but Taylor Swift hating husbands can't deal with their wives' devotion to the pop star, and it is leading to divorce. Taylor Swift is destroying marriages and relationships everywhere. Or more so, I should say, the parasocial relationship that some women have with her is destroying marriages. Mm-hmm. This says Kristen Collins, 41 years old, said that her ex-husband couldn't cope with her devotion to Taylor Swift and even blamed her for their bad blood during their 9-year marriage.
That writer loved that line.
Yeah, she told the New York Post that as I became more outspoken in our relationship about my feelings, Taylor Swift's music was often blamed. Like maybe I was listening to too much Taylor Swift and ruminating about our problems. That's true, right? All of her music is about her failed relationships, right?
He's like, could you listen to somebody with a little bit more of an upbeat take on relationships, please?
Yeah, I don't know if she really has. I guess I haven't listened to more of her recent music, but most of it is about failed relationships and ex-boyfriends. And if you're a married woman analyzing these lyrics and stewing on them and relating them to your own experiences, I don't think that would be a very constructive influence in your marriage. She says Taylor Swift's music caused blow-up arguments in their relationship. We probably used it as a projection of some sort, or a way of avoiding the topic we wanted to discuss. His anger at me would become anger at Taylor Swift, and my fierce defensiveness of her was replacing my own defensiveness. So she identified so strongly with Taylor Swift and her relationships and her personal life that she became a proxy in her fights with her husband, which eventually led to the destruction of their marriage.
Talk to your girlfriend, talk to your wife, talk to your husband.
This is crazy.
Talk to them. This is so dumb.
Okay, so you're not going to be defending the Swifties on this one.
No, not at all. I mean,
okay, good.
No, I mean, look, it's dumb to leave your wife over Taylor Swift. It's dumb to put the problems you have with your wife on Taylor Swift and then yell about Taylor Swift to your wife. It's really dumb. I don't think that it's the Swifties' fault, especially if it's a situation where, just like you outlined there, it's a manifestation of problems with the actual relationship.
She also says that November 29th last year was the last time he physically abused
That's
me.
a different woman.
That's the
in
other.
the
That's
article,
the next person. Okay.
Not the same one.
Different lady.
This guy was not abusive. She just kind of took themes from Taylor Swift's music about men and projected them onto her husband. And he didn't leave his wife over Taylor Swift. She filed for divorce.
So she left him.
And this is a 41-year-old woman. Grow up.
Okay, if you file, it's your fault.
They
Especially
say
over something. Unless there's like physical abuse or infidelity, like there are no reasons to get divorced except for physical abuse and infidelity.
it didn't help that her ex was a musician and he felt the need to critique Taylor Swift's craft at every chance he got. He would just say that she's not good. And I would say, well, Billy Joel thinks she's good and Stevie Nicks and Paul McCartney have publicly validated her talent.
Yeah, I validate her talent too. She's good.
She turned to the tunes of Taylor Swift for moral support as her marriage was unraveling. I listened to songs like Tolerate It. When Taylor sang, "But what would you do if I break free and leave us in the ruins? Took this dagger in me and removed it, gained the weight of you, then lose it. Believe me, I could do it." I thought, I could do it too. Break free from what had become a truly unhealthy relationship.
Break free from the relationship of the guy who doesn't like your music, Taylor. Yeah.
So that's the biggest problem I can identify here, is that she likes Taylor Swift and he doesn't. What was unhealthy about the relationship otherwise?
They got in some fights about it.
So in 2021, she did, in fact, file for divorce and renewed her vows to Taylor Swift herself. Since then, she's traveled around the country and overseas to go to multiple Taylor Swift concerts with her friends like a teenager.
It's got to be
This is high school behavior.
I mean, it feels like it would be, if not for the noise of a very busy life, a deeply unsatisfying existence.
Yeah, she's talking about traveling to Las Vegas, Portugal, and New Orleans with girlfriends to see Taylor perform.
You know, the girlfriends
something
were,
that
like,
I
telling
could
her to
never
break
have
up.
done while married.
You know that her friends were like, break up with him.
Oh,
He doesn't
yeah.
want you to go on the Taylor Swift tour. Break up with him.
But she says her ex has now come to tolerate Taylor Swift after witnessing their children's love for her. There were children involved. And this is why their parents' marriage
on
ended.
tour with Taylor, watching Taylor Swift.
So while their kids are in his custody, she's traveling to Taylor Swift concerts. I think that he is getting behind it now as a father in a way that maybe he couldn't as a husband. So I'll give him that. And then in this second example, Sarah, whose ex-husband didn't want their daughters listening to Taylor Swift's music during their 9-year marriage. Every time I would play her music in the car, he would be like, these lyrics are not appropriate for the kids, and he would switch the song. He was always like, she's not a good role model, she's provocative, she gives girls messages that they shouldn't be believing. And I would always be like, I feel like she's very empowering.
Okay.
So, I mean, Phil, would you agree that there are messages in Taylor Swift's music that may not be good for young girls?
Yes. I still like it, though.
What are those messages?
There's fairly feminist messages. The idea, there seems to be some ideas revolving around promiscuity. So those kind of things aren't all that crazy.
So the husband's objectively probably got a good point, and he's taking it from the perspective of what the kid should be listening to. The mom is taking it from the perspective of a feminist and saying that he's wrong.
No, we're
even
using
though-
Taylor Swift's music to teach our daughters to be feminists.
Yeah,
that should be a good
That's-
thing.
There's
That's
a
a
20
bad
there.
thing.
Thumper said, small shift from the Lily Phillips topic from yesterday. It's clearly manipulation. If she actually felt bad, why double down and sleep with 1,000?
Well, maybe that one doesn't happen.
For the dollars.
Sometimes you double down on something you know you shouldn't do anyway.
Yeah.
And you feel bad about doubling down, but you do it anyway. I think I've brought up this example before. If you're in an argument with someone and you're saying something really mean and cruel and you know that you're doing it and you can't stop yourself because you're in the moment of anger, you kind of hate yourself for saying what you said, but you're
That's a
doubling
fact.
down anyway.
sounds
So
like
I
a
don't
woman
think it's
thing.
that hard to believe.
It sounds like a woman thing.
It might be.
Because I imagine men would be like, man, I shouldn't have punched him in the face.
Oh, not like knockdown, drag out fight. I just mean if you say something that digs at someone.
Oh,
You know?
okay.
Are there any other celebrities or figures in pop culture or Hollywood that could have such a unique impact on the relationship between two people? Anybody else? that
Other
you
than
can think of?
Taylor Swift.
It might be the best argument I can think of that she was a bigger star than Beyonce. Like, nobody's breaking up over Beyonce lyrics.
Well, no, Beyonce stood by her man for better or for worse. It's getting worse for them right now.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to split up anytime soon. They're more like business partners.
Well, yeah,
now.
once you're at that level of financial connectedness and that much money, it's like...
And power and
Yeah.
influence and secrets that they have on each
that
other.
house is like a mile long. Just sleep at opposite ends of the house.
Exactly. Sarah said that she used Taylor Swift's songs to get through her ex-husband's physical, verbal, emotional, and spiritual abuse. She decided to leave him back in November.
Okay.
She said it's really wild because later that day, Taylor released her song You're Losing Me, and the lyrics are literally what happened to me that day. When I heard that song, I was just like, she wrote this for me.
That's creepy.
Yeah.
That is a parasocial relationship
Yes.
right there. Taylor Swift is not your therapist. She's not your mom. She's not
She
your
doesn't
friend.
know you. She didn't do anything for you.
She doesn't know you or care about you.
Idolatry is a bad thing.
Yeah. She says she realized she didn't need to stay with her ex-husband for the children because there's a lyric in Taylor Swift's song It's Time to Go that says trying to stay for the kids when keeping it how it is will only break their hearts worse. And I always thought that by staying I was saving my kids from heartbreak, but then I realized by leaving I was giving them a sense of freedom because they didn't have to live in this environment where they walked on eggshells all the time.
Tell that to the kids in the previous story who were in a family that broke up over Taylor Swift music and now have divorced parents and have to split Christmases because dad doesn't like bad blood.
Yeah.
Or should I say because mom, earlier your face, because mom doesn't like that dad doesn't like bad blood.
Bad Blood's a good song, man.
Well, I'm sure the kids are much better off now that Sarah is with a woman who lets her listen to as much Taylor Swift music as she wants.
Feminism indicates that you have to give in to whatever she wants no matter what.
Well, of course.
Otherwise,
Right.
it's abuse. Also,
Feminism
what is
means
the...
women are always right.
That's
is
what
the-
people say that happy life, happy wife, or happy wife, happy life took relationships
in a bad direction.
into a bad direction because it's stuff like that.
Well, it originally was more of picking your battles in a more wholesome sense. It's not that anymore.
Right.
Also, what the hell? What is spiritual abuse?
I don't even know. I don't even know what she's
Like, I know what
referring to.
physical abuse is.
I
don't
have
know
no
what
idea.
spiritual abuse is. That's kind of coming into what we were talking about recently with the fact that people just talk and say stuff without the words actually meaning anything.
Yeah.
Like, unless she can tell me what that actually means, obviously nobody's advocating for physical abuse, and she should have left him. But oddly enough, I find the Taylor Swift inclusion in that story to be a bit of a clickbait.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't leave him because of Taylor Swift. You left him because he's a piece of shit.
The first chick did.
Yes,
The
the second
second
one,
chick
no.
did not, but
No.
she just related the music to her experience more so. We have talked about similar stories in
Yeah.
the past, and I saw a comment on our channel on one of those videos that said, if you have tickets to a Taylor Swift concert, then even if it's on your wedding day, you should go. It doesn't matter.
Of course.
Your spouse should just understand because it's Taylor Swift, so she's more important.
Of course.
There are
That's what matters.
many things that are more important than going to a Taylor Swift concert. There will always be more.
Yeah.
It's not like Taylor Swift is dying, okay? Like, she's going to go on more tours.
She'll tour again. We all know
It'll
this
be
because
fine.
musicians don't ever actually stop touring. They just keep going and coming back later. Every tour is the last tour, even when they're old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You also sent me this news about Taylor Swift giving her cast and crew on the Eras tour a bonus of about $200 million.
Yeah, over the last couple of years. And you just know this came up in those fights. They're like, she is generous! She gives her staff millions of dollars!
They're eating the dogs. They're eating
We're such a nuisance to our coworkers.
I know. It's all right.
dogs. They're eating the cats.
Thank you, guys.
Says the $197 million number indicates that almost 10% of the tour's overall gross was put back into the bonuses for team members.
She is not.
You just know that
like
somebody
the
read
other
that.
billionaires.
You know, somebody just read that and they're like, United Healthcare could never.
You know, some of the staff members that she gave this money to were therapists.
Yeah.
She has traveling therapists on her tour team.
Yeah. So that everybody can deal with the trauma and the stress of
Do you
having
think
a
Taylor
job.
Swift has a therapist?
It's got to be a therapist with the greatest NDA in history.
Yeah.
She's like, just because I want the lyrics. I mean, actually, that's actually not even necessary because she reveals it all in her songs anyway. It's more
Yeah.
about it not getting out first.
Maybe her music is her therapy.
Yeah.
I think she has a bank account that's a therapist.
There you go.
Yeah.
When she's sad, she just looks at all the zeros in it.
Just wipes her tears away with a $100 bill every night.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's go to what would you like to see? Cringe or cute of the day?
I always want to start with cringe, get it out of the way.
Cringe first?
Well, it's a Taylor Swift cringe. So.
That is true. All right.
Perfect.
Can
that's
it
perfect.
really be cringe then?
It's not her, though. It's a Taylor Swift impersonator.
Oh, it can very easily be cringe.
Yeah.
then.
All right. Here we go. Let's put this on screen.
Not gonna lie, the resemblance is pretty good, though.
I mean, she's not as skinny as Taylor.
Yeah, no.
Here we go.
I know you're better than that. Hey, what you doing with that girl I got? She wears high heels, I wear roller skates. She's cheer captain.
It's cringe.
I'm on
Yeah.
the bleachers. Drinking by the day. You wake up and find out what you're looking for. Has been here the whole time. If you can see the light, I wanna see
kids just don't care at all.
They really wouldn't. Like, you can't do that.
And she can't even make her way around on the roller skates. She's about to fall.
I mean, it's more in brand with Taylor because she's not the greatest dancer either. So maybe that was by design. But yeah, that was awful.
That was definitely a mom's idea who's a Swiftie. And the kids are like, who's Taylor Swift?
Or they like Taylor Swift and they're like, yeah, but that's not her.
They're not dumb.
You don't learn to like enjoy impersonators until you're an adult.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift does have young fans, doesn't she, though? Or are her fans mostly millennials? Or
she does, but I would guess a lot of the little kids going to her concerts are brought by millennial moms who are more so
That's
fans.
kind of what I was under the impression that Taylor Swift fans were.
The kids at
they're
this
not
roller
teenagers
rink
anymore, are they?
birthday party are just like really uncomfortable.
All right. Well, let's do cute of the day, guys. This one here is from Tom. It says, little baby Vivi. That is a cute dog. Looks kind of stoned. Elton John would not approve. The dog looks a little stoned in that picture because
really?
the one eye open. That's adorable.
Very cute.
That is a very cute dog.
Nice.
See, the tongue out, adorable in dogs, not adorable in cats, aka
Disagree.
Mocha.
Disagree.
AKA Mocha. All right. Let's do two more. We'll do two more. Yeah, this one's from Big Dave. Oh,
I think we saw
did
that
one yesterday. Yep. Sorry, we'll do one more. And this one is from Jeremy. Says my girlfriend's cat Chani is very photogenic.
Oh,
That is a
love
very
that
cute
mane.
Cat.
That
Is that like
cat
a
looks
microscope
very
back there?
soft.
That's awesome. Oh, it's a saw. Okay. All right. That is very cute. We'll do one more here. This one is from, yes, I saved this one. Lisan Al-Gaibi says, in honor of you and Olivia getting toast, here's Nebby Toast.
I love it. How do you get your cat to do stuff like that?
That is the best thing ever. I hope that's your phone background, man.
I love bread cats.
That is adorable. All right.
So cute.
Let's get started.
Selena Gomez just announced her engagement to her boyfriend, Benny Blanco. And they just said, forever begins now. They posted a whole photo shoot where they were on a set made to look like they were on a picnic outside with a bunch of Taco Bell. So there's been a lot of talk about a Taco Bell wedding on this show. We're finally going to see one. It'll be Selena Gomez's marriage to Benny Blanco. They have all the crunch wraps and everything laid out in this very photogenic way.
I do like that a billionaire.
Do you have the pictures?
I do like that a billionaire would have a Taco Bell wedding.
I mean, yeah, it's cute, I guess.
There we go.
Like, I'm not gonna hate on this. There were some people who questioned it, though. Some people in the comments said, is it bad proposing to your girlfriend with Taco Bell? I found it's not a bad thing. What really matters is true love.
There's a 20 here from Nate. My daughter is 7 and she is obsessed with Swift. She would want her at her B-Day party.
Well, not that version
Not that
of Taylor
one.
Yeah,
Swift, hopefully.
not the impersonator though.
Yeah. Another one said, effing Taco Bell, why not roses, strawberries, cake, anything romantic, blech.
Well, who are you to decide what's romantic?
Yeah. There were a lot of mixed opinions.
Or no, do you remember the video from a few years ago of like the guy who proposed to his girlfriend at KFC?
I do.
And
Yeah.
it went
Didn't
viral.
they get like free KFC for life or something?
No, like a bunch of companies, because the guy got dunked on for doing it at the KFC.
Yeah.
And then I guess it probably came out that that was where they met or something.
They met
like,
at KFC.
like whatever. But the point is they got dunked on online. Everyone was like, you're punching, like, why would you be mad at this dude for,
Yeah.
the happiest thing that could ever happen to a guy? And then a bunch of companies came out to like pay for the wedding.
Right, I remember that.
Great
happening.
promo for
The only
the
thing that
brand.
could have made it better if they met and got engaged at a KFC Taco Bell
Yes.
instead of just a normal KFC. I don't think that Benny Blanco deserves hate for proposing to Selena Gomez with Taco Bell. He deserves some of the negative pushback that he's getting, though. I found a thread detailing a lot of his questionable behavior, and we have talked about it on the show before. Apologies, this is really explicit, but he has posted some really sus things about children in the past. First off, a video of a dog humping a child, posting inappropriate images of his own son on TikTok until TikTok had to take them down after backlash. He seems to have a very pornographic obsession
Yeah.
And it comes out in his sense of humor on social media.
Ew.
He has admitted that he has a fetish for tasting human urine.
Oh, God, man.
Not only that, but admitted on video to Justin Bieber, Selena's ex, that he shits his pants all the time.
Sick.
A lot of weird videos sexualizing everything, sexualizing animals, children, Selena Gomez as well. Posing as Jesus on a billboard, which I really don't like. He seems to have a fetish for human feces that he expressed on social media before.
Their fights are going to be epic.
He just has a messy public persona that
he's going to fling crap
people
at
don't
everyone
like.
when
People
he's
don't
mad.
care for it. He also seems to have a weird obsession with Justin Bieber. And considering that Selena Gomez's most public relationship before him was with Justin Bieber, on and off for many, many years, that makes things kind of uncomfortable.
A whole relationship out of spite.
Yeah. Some people pointed out that Benny Blanco's ring for Selena was noticeably smaller than the one that Justin Bieber used to propose to his wife, Haley.
I mean, I don't know what Justin Bieber's net worth is, but I imagine it's higher than Benny Blanco.
The
His was what,
absolute
50 million?
rock that is on Haley's hand is insane. Reportedly, Justin Bieber's ring for Haley cost $265,000. Whereas Selena's ring is estimated at $70,000.
Just a paltry $70,000.
Yes, yeah, and you know,
Look, if she's a billionaire. Just buy your own.
People are making jokes about how Benny Blanco is like Selena Gomez's broke boyfriend who has her, you know, cover the bill for everything.
He does the hug from behind at the cash register.
Just remember, these people are not, you know, normal, ordinary people. Selena Gomez is a billionaire. And I find that really impressive, given that she's only like 30 years old. But Benny Blanco is by no means broke.
He's worth
in literally no sense is this man
mere
broke.
$50 million.
Yes. Benny
that
Blanco's net worth is estimated at $50 million. So I think he is just fine in that regard.
I like the idea that he's like, look, a $200 and some $1,000 ring. What do I look like? I'm made of money?
Yeah. Yeah. There was this meme. Benny Blanco asked Selena for money so he could buy her ring. Probably true.
Yeah.
She covers their trips to Taco Bell.
I did see. No, I said, like, my pitch was like they need to make a show for rich people, and I really do think that they could turn this into like a skit series on some YouTube channel, and they would love it. Is like rich couples go back and forth and show their Venmo history to one another, like when they go out together, like who covers the bill this time, who covers the bill that time.
That would get ugly.
That would be funny.
You know, the problem with Benny Blanco isn't necessarily that he is unsightly or the fact that he doesn't shower. That's by his own admission. Or even the fact that he is significantly less wealthy than Selena Gomez. The problem with Benny Blanco is that he is a proud male feminist, and he has bragged about that. And People magazine featured him in their Sexiest Man Alive issue this year because he is so sensitive and he's so in touch with his emotions and he's so secure in his masculinity, and he's a proud feminist who is into fashion, and he paints his nails, and he likes throwing dinner parties and cooking, and I mean, all of that on its own, that's fine, but you don't need to project that into this nice guy persona.
Because it gives off creepy vibes.
Yeah, exactly. It's creepy. It means you're overcompensating for something. As I just detailed, he has a lot of skeletons in his closet that he's trying to cover up by seeming like this nice guy male feminist. And she will not be happy long term if he is genuine about being a feminist, because you just can't, like, as a woman, you cannot be happy in a relationship with a man who subscribes to that ideology. It's impossible. So especially if it comes out in your relationship dynamic.
Yeah. How does he fix that? He's like, I got to become a billionaire now.
I mean, that's the only way, right?
He's like, can I buy into your company at like a very
Exactly.
high rate?
You know, I can't think of a more backhanded compliment in response to this engagement than the following. Selena Gomez is engaged, shattering hypergamy and giving hope to men who aren't Chads. So they think it's great that Benny Blanco is a broke, ugly guy
Who's marrying a billionaire.
who married a hot billionaire.
He's a broke dude worth $50 million.
Yeah. They're saying that Benny Blanco scoring Selena Gomez is supposed to give hope to broke, ugly men everywhere. How would you feel if you were Benny Blanco and you read that headline? Yeah. I can't think of a more blatant backhanded compliment.
It's like when they tell a girl, you know, she's challenging beauty standards.
Yeah, I don't care what anyone says. You're beautiful just the way you are. I don't care how ugly everyone says you are. You're perfect.
Yeah.
This says, Benny isn't the flashy superstar heartthrob you might expect to see on Selena's arm. He's not a household name, and his success doesn't rival her global fame.
His mediocre success. His mediocre success of being worth $50 million.
The fact that he will be merely a footnote in the history of Selena Gomez's life.
And producing music for some of the biggest artists of our time.
This engagement challenges the tired narrative that women are hypergamous by nature.
No, it doesn't.
Always looking to trade up for someone wealthier, hotter, or more powerful.
Evie is off their rocker on this.
This is from Evie Magazine, by the way.
They're off their rocker on this one.
They say, sure, hypergamy exists, but it's not the universal doomsday reality some corners of the internet make it out to be.
She literally has backed herself into a corner where she cannot do it because of her net worth.
So
outside of Elon Musk or some Saudi billionaire who's just worth more billions than her options of being hypergamous are fairly limited.
Right. As a billionaire, what are you going to do?
This is not rocket
Find
science.
a trillionaire?
Yeah.
Like,
she's like, I heard Elon Musk just became like, isn't he going to be like the first trillionaire? He likes to have kids, right?
They say women, just like men, want a real connection with the person they're with, and if it's strong enough, they're willing to forgo other elements like looks or status. You know, because Benny Blanco is so broke and ugly.
She's holding her nose at his status.
And his stench from not showering. For some women, even someone as high profile as Selena Gomez, the connection holds far more value than picking someone who you think will give you more status in the eyes of the world. If one of the most famous, successful women in the world can choose love over appearances, maybe, just maybe, it's time to rethink that narrative.
It's the worst example you could have possibly ever given.
If I were Selena Gomez and I read that tweet, I would break up with Benny Blanco immediately. That is
It's such a horrible example.
awful.
It's such a horrible example.
It really is. Especially because I feel like she's with him because he's not good looking. Like, I feel like she has self-esteem issues that made her gravitate.
She's like, I might
toward a
run
guy
out
like
of
this.
Ozempic one day and have to put weight back on, and therefore I need to date Benny Blanco.
She said recently that she's too old to be a pop star. And she's 32, and Taylor Swift is 34, by the way.
Meanwhile, like, Madonna's, like, just dragging her old ass out onto stage.
Yeah.
Like, literally to the point where she, like, her hip gave out in the middle of a concert.
And even before Madonna was the walking monstrosity that she is today, she had a major comeback in the 2000s when she was, you know, in her 40s or 50s.
I think they're saying, like, Meme Machine says they're shading Bro so hard right now. No, we're shading Evie right now for, like,
Evie. No,
yes.
They're saying Evie is shading Benny Blanco.
Evie is shading him so hard without even knowing. But that is kind of like the crux of this type of female connection, especially online, which is backhandedness.
Yeah, they say the tone of nastiness is a constant throughout many of the posts reacting to the engagement announcement. There are a range of posts negatively commenting on Benny Blanco's looks. Continuing this spitefulness, it's being compared to the engagement of Justin and Hailey Bieber. And there were some comments from Gordon Ramsay. He said, "Oh, it must be his cooking." Like, that's shady.
Everybody's just out to dunk on this dude.
And you know what? I'm here for it. I'm a hater.
There's somebody who's like, wow, she's such a nice person.
I don't support this. I don't support this at all. Benny Blanco seems like an ugly person inside and out.
I just can't.
She could do better. I genuinely believe she could do better.
And it would be more kind to her to tell her that.
I guess it's not my place. I don't have a parasocial friendship with Selena Gomez, but a lot of people do. That's why they feel so comfortable commenting on this as if it's like a family friend. You shouldn't actually care, but I do believe that she could do better if she just had a little higher self-esteem.
Wasn't Bill Clinton poor before he married Hillary, or was his family rich and hers was richer?
Was he?
know.
Like, don't a lot of political families get together because one of them's got the money and the other one's got the possibility of running for office?
Yeah.
feel
Most wholesome example, I think, is Mark Zuckerberg and his wife Priscilla, because they met in college before
no,
he was
Bill Clinton was not
Zuck.
poor.
Okay.
He played golf at a country club.
Okay, never mind. Yeah, but you're right about Zuckerberg.
Priscilla fell in
suppose.
love with Mark.
Not the Zuck.
Not the Zuck.
She's like,
She loves him for who he is.
she's like, it wasn't until later that I learned that he'd sell all your data to China, and then I loved him even more.
Yeah.
Ah,
It's a match made in hell.
Oh,
Okay.
love
Let's
it.
read some super chats. Shane H. Wilder said, "Happy Thrashing Thursday, Brett, Mary, and Phil. I keep seeing ads for Chia Pets. Who is buying Chia Pets in 2024? You don't have to
don't
bring
know.
everything back."
No, I can tell you who's doing it. It's becoming a gag. It's a gag gift, especially in the age of nostalgia. Gag gift.
When were Chia Pets, a big deal?
When I was young, so
I remember having a Chia Pet.
So
though.
what it was one of those things that you would see on an infomercial late at night, and then they would also say also available at Walgreens, and you only ever saw it at Walgreens if you were stuck in there shopping with your family and you weren't actually in there to get something for yourself, because you'd be walking around aimlessly and end up in front of the Chia Pet.
You end up at the
holy
as seen
they're
on
real.
TV section.
I mean, I love that shit.
I do too. I had a Chia Pet. I think it was like a hedgehog or something.
I mean, there's there was more than a few things at the castle that looked like they came directly from As Seen on
Yes.
TV or like Sharper Image.
100%. No, but it literally is, because I've seen Tim watch network television. He's like watching Fox News and a commercial comes on.
like,
and he's
"Oh,
like,
it's
I
awesome."
want that.
Yeah.
Or Instagram.
Yes.
ads.
Instagram is
Targeted
good.
Instagram ads.
Yep.
Instagram is good. Their ads are really, really accurate. There's a lot of stuff
kinda
on
scary.
Instagram that I see. I'm like,
The one thing I bought
part of the reason why
mys-
I stay off Instagram. I'm not on Instagram very frequently. I don't post a lot. I don't like Zuckerberg's
practices.
properties.
Do you see that he's meeting at Mar-a-Lago, and so is Bezos? They're all going to meet. Everyone's turning around now.
Well, I'm sure it's because he's based.
Yeah, it's not because he just wants better business practices for himself.
Look, I don't care what it is. If they stop acting like they're insane and they stop doing things like, terribly censoring people and having FBI agents work at the offices on behalf of the FBI. Like, if they stop doing that stuff, that's fine with me. They can be, nobody's perfect.
They're not going to stop.
The one thing I did buy myself this year for Christmas, because I hate Christmas gifts, is I did buy expensive joggers that I normally would not.
Treat yourself.
I did.
That's self-care.
I did. The one time.
Joggers.
I buy cheap ones normally. I bought expensive ones at the end of the year.
Good for you.
How expensive were the expensive ones, Brett?
Not $70. Like that's more than I'm willing to spend for something like that, especially since usually what it is everything that I buy, like pants wise, there's then this ticking clock as to how long I'll put off using them for skating, which inevitably destroys them. So it's just then it's tick 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 tick, and then eventually I give in and then they get destroyed.
Greg Duvier said, "This is everyone's weekly reminder to pre-order Anti-Fragile
Yes.
that comes out January 31st, 2025.
Yes.
Phil wants to make money for his side job."
Yes, that's true.
Is it anti-fragile or anti-fragile? What's correct?
I'm not partial to one of the
Anti-fragile.
Okay, I hate that one. But other anti-fragile, I'm not. I say anti-fragile. Anti-fragile is fine.
Let's do one more.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Greg, don't tell me what to do. No, don't tell me to do what I already did do." That was confusing.
All right, let's we're gonna move on.
Yeah.
We got to be careful with this one for the censor's sake.
Yeah, yesterday we talked about Tinder's yearly report, where they report on all of the dating trends of 2024. It seems like all of these sites are doing this now, including Cornhub, if you know what I'm talking about. They released a list of their top search terms for the year, which I find far less interesting. What I did find interesting is the trends that defined 2024 in corn. And sadly, a lot of them were brain rot related. A lot of it was basically memes leaking into the world of explicit content.
Well, you know what it is also is like the minute somebody becomes famous, especially if they're a woman, they're just like, so where's the OnlyFans?
Exactly.
And they're shocked when they find out that they don't have one. Like they're still to this day shocked that Hawk Tuah doesn't have an OnlyFans. Though after everything that's going on with Hawk Tuah coin, she might have to open one someday.
Right, yeah. So I found this list of their year in review. The number one search term that rose to prominence on Pornhub in 2024 was demure. As you know, Jules LeBron, the TikToker, came up with this meme calling different things demure, mindful, and cutesy. And I guess that was a turn on for some people. It says searches rose 133% for the word demure and mindful on Pornhub, as well as searches for the word modesty and traditional sex and traditional clothes.
I think that's is that men, or is the idea of modesty or traditional sex a rise in women watching porn? There's obviously very separate markets. There are women that watch porn, and the market for that is a very different type of video than the stuff that's made for men.
They don't break it down by sex, who is searching for what in this one, but I'm not sure. It's interesting. I think that they cited some like sexual wellness expert that works for Pornhub who analyzed what it means.
That's like being the HR representative at a company.
It's like being an HR representative in any Hollywood studio, basically. Yep. This says the director of Pornhub's Sexual Wellness Center analyzed the trend, saying, "It seems like people may be pining for a simpler time, looking for things that are less complicated and maybe seeking out more meaningful experiences."
I mean, you're not actually seeking out more meaningful experiences. You're seeking out a video that shows you a facsimile of more meaningful experiences.
You could actually just have meaningful sex in real life.
There's a 20 there.
Duck Dad 80 said, "I fully support our household financially, but I give all the money to my wife, who then pays for everything. So I'm also the hug from behind guy at the register."
Well, the question is then, are you secure enough in your manhood that you don't feel the need to like explain to the guy at the register, like, look, I'm not giving the poor boyfriend hug. I'm actually the one paying for it. I just like to hug her.
But then they're like, I don't care as
bro.
long as you're paying
bro,
for
I'm
your
not
food,
going to remember this tomorrow.
But that's funny though. The second trend that they listed here defining 2024 was related to the extremely popular Hulu series The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, which glorifies the polygamist and swinger lifestyle that is popular among some Mormons. And they got a whole reality show out of it. This says interest in wife and marital searches grew as users explored themes of tradition, including the term tradwife, which searches for the word tradwife on Pornhub went up by 72% this year.
Yeah, it is really like there should be, I'm sure there has been, but there should be more studies done about how you can kind of examine the culture's change through pornography searches. Like I remember somebody saying like, you know why nobody like, it's like a big one used to be back in the 2000s to be like looking up like babysitter, but nobody's having kids, so nobody has babysitters. So.
Right. Yeah, that is interesting. I'm sure it definitely predicts.
Or like sleeping with your neighbor. Well, nobody can afford houses. I can't sleep with my. I can't. They can't cheat on their wife with the neighbor because they don't have neighbors because they can't afford to get married and own a home.
No pizza delivery guy because the pizza is too
so
damn expensive.
I had to take a loan out to get a pizza from Domino's. I'm not also having sex.
Right, exactly. They say reflecting pop culture influences, searches for Mormon wife, Mormon sex, Mormon missionary, and Mormon threesome all rose significantly in 2024.
You know what the sad thing is the industry wins no matter what. No matter what the culture does, they win. Like the ultimate explanation of that is the fact that trad wife is like a thing that should be inherently anti-porn and is still pornified. So they win either way. No matter if the culture becomes more modest, there will still be people looking for somehow modest porn.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't, like, they win no matter what.
Yeah.
It's a rigged game.
And since we live in this culture of HR tyranny and, you know, you can't meet a spouse in the workplace. You can't flirt with a coworker because you're going to catch case. You're going to catch a suit, or you're going to get a reprimanding from your boss. I saw the third trend of 2024 was coworker.
Okay.
Searches for the word coworker on Pornhub rose by 92% in 2024 as people return to in-person work.
Yeah, you can't have any Zoom calls. Actually, now that I think about it, they can bring the pizza delivery guy back. He just has to be like a DoorDash person.
Also, office affair, sex in the office, workplace fantasy, all of these things rose in prominence on the website in 2024. And then
the Olympics.
In conjunction with the Olympics, there were a ton of searches related to athletes in the Olympics, including Paris, like sex Olympics, gymnastics, swimmer, athlete, volleyball, Paris, France, French, at the time at least, you know, during the summer. Yep. They said hentai was the #1 search for the 4th straight year. The weebs have gone too far.
The weebs have got to be stopped.
They must be stopped. I can't do it anymore. And then, of course, 6th trend on the list is Hawktua. This says the viral sensation of Hawktua resulted in 10 million searches for related content, influencing the popularity of terms like, okay, I can't even repeat some of this stuff on air.
When I saw that, I'm like, I don't think Mary's going to read any of those.
But there were a lot of searches for the actual phrase Hawktua on Pornhub in 2024, which is unsurprising. But the demure thing kind of took me by surprise. I thought that was mostly a TikTok thing.
How does it connect in your brain?
Yeah. I also am surprised that so many people hadn't even heard the word before it became a TikTok trend. Mm-hmm. Like, that was a word that was in my vocabulary somewhere. Somebody out there is like, wow, well, I guess if it increases everyone's vocabulary, how bad could it be? Yeah. And the way that they analyzed this and like what it means for society is just funny to me, because they're the people who are actively making society worse. They do these a lot of these websites do this every year. They have their roundup about what's popular. I mean, we did yesterday, what was it, Tinder? That we were talking about all the trends that have come out of Tinder in the past year. Oh, I mean, Tinder's just kind of the place where trends happen nowadays, aren't they? Yeah. Their sexual wellness expert also said that the Mormon searches appear to signify putting excitement back and trying to keep fantasy alive even after putting a ring on it. So you're pitting marriage and having a healthy sex life against each other, meaning porn has to have a role to play. They obviously profit off of that. And they did not say anything about the Me Too movement or HR culture about the coworker searches, because that was too touchy. Yeah. I just think that's the obvious reason why it trended. Yeah. If you're returning to working in person, and so many people for decades have met their spouses in the workplace, and now that's suddenly off the table, like that's not kosher anymore. I can imagine why it would be this suppressed thing. Where they're like, it was normal for so long, now it's not. Why isn't it? I must explore. Yeah. But the Hawktua thing is the least surprising of all. I would have guessed that would be #1. Yeah. I actually was very, very surprised it wasn't higher on the list there. It's the only one that's like inherently sexual. I mean, what's weird about it is the Brainrot stuff just feels so non-sexual to me. It feels so divorced from anything like intimate. Next year in 2025 they'll release the list and the #1 search term will be knee surgery. Yeah. The like all of it, the point of all of it is that it's supposed to make people look insane. Like the people who are really good at making Brainrot content don't rightly mix being attractive, even if they are like a traditionally attractive looking person, with the content, because the content is inherently mindless. Right. Yeah. Well, also porn is inherently mindless. So I guess it makes sense that these worlds intersected this year. All right. Drewish AF of God's Army said, Phil, where can I get sheet music for No Tomorrow? You can get it from Jason Richardson's YouTube page. Zachary Schmidt said, what are both of your thoughts on Brett Copper leaving the Daily Wire?
I don't know who Brett Copper is.
I don't know who Brett Copper is.
Are they related to David Copperfield?
I'm sure Brett Cooper, no matter what she ends up doing after this, is going to be massively successful. People are already subscribing to her new YouTube channel. Yep. So I'm excited to watch. Yep. Ken Man said Paris Hilton is the queen of degeneracy.
No.
What?
No, she's not compared to the 100
I love
dudes I
about
banged in one day. Or
Yeah.
there was a porn star that I just heard this on the drive-in.
919.
Yeah,
That's the
919 in one day. So no, she's not the queen of degeneracy.
And that lady did it years ago. What I thought was funny is because I actually heard that story before. So when this lady did that, I made the joke. It's like, those are rookie numbers. You got to get those numbers up. Like, you're not even. I make the point still that back when it was harder and you had to have, like, your trauma was more prevalent, getting into that industry meant that the higher barrier to entry meant the people that got into it were almost inherently going to do even more vile stuff back then when it was less mainstream. And now it's awful, and what we're watching is disturbing, at least the reaction that we saw to that video. But there's just something still that feels so polished and mainstream and current about it that feels more wrong to me sometimes than the acts themselves.
Yeah. I disagree. I'm always going to defend Paris Hilton. And unlike Kim Kardashian, Paris Hilton actually did have her sex tape released without her permission. Kim Kardashian was doing a whole psyop when she had
her mom released
published.
it.
Yeah. Mondo said, went through a rough period where I was smoking weed every day. Won't speak for everyone, but that shit made me super unproductive. Glad I ditched it.
Yeah, it can make you pretty unproductive.
Yeah, like that's the, like, for me, like what I like, again, my whole point is always that I'm not here to tell anybody else how to behave, because I had plenty of friends who were some of the most productive people I've ever known in my entire life, who were 110% able to do it once in a while at night or on the weekends. I was just, and I'm speaking more about other substances for myself, I was never the person who could regulate like that after a period of time. So you have to be willing to have a hard look at yourself and say, can I actually do that and be successful? I already would have had issues with, like, it's going to make you depressed if you're not being active, if you stop doing things that you love to do. For me, it wasn't worth it. Other people can make that value judgment for themselves.
It's such an IQ test, though, when you make a general statement that's generally true, like, oh, weed makes people unproductive. Like, generally, that's true. And then you'll have people come out of the woodwork and say, no, I know like 15 C-suite executives at Fortune 500 companies.
Well, that's
who
what
are
they're
the most
doing. They're
productive people I have ever met, and they smoke weed 24/7.
Those people aren't doing that, though, these days. Those are the MDMA microdosers.
Exactly.
In Silicon Valley.
The digital nomads.
But yes,
if you will.
your point is well taken. It is regularly, or you can make comments like that regularly on Twitter and say, generally this is true, and then people are going to come in and they're like, oh, but here's one time, or here's my personal experience. It's like, I specifically said generally to, like, head you morons off at the pass.
Yeah,
but
never
apparently
works.
never works.
Well, I mean, that's the whole issue with internet discourse, right? It doesn't matter how much you quantify beforehand. It's like, I love apples. Well, fuck you, because oranges are, like, everyone knows that's exactly like, that's why I don't even engage in a lot of discourse on Twitter, because I can already predict the sideswipe answer that's going to completely miss the point.
Corey Anderson said, I haven't done drugs in over 20 years, but I miss the smell of bud. Reminds me of the woods. God invented Mary Jane. No need to hate Mary.
What did Mitch Hedberg say? I used to smoke weed. I still do, but I used to too.
Mondo said, Mary, gardening? Nah, that shit's gay. Gardening weed, too. That's gay. Riley Geralds said, Brett, did you know bonsai is a style of growing, not a species? Fun tree facts. Hey, Phil and Mary. Hi.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
Let's hold off on the rest and let's come back after the fact.
Yes, brainrot is the word of 2024 according to the Oxford Dictionary. They have ranked it, the word that defined this year, and given it an official definition in the Oxford Dictionary. Brain rot is the supposed deterioration of a person's mental or intellectual state, especially viewed as the result of overconsumption of material, now particularly online content, considered to be trivial or unchallenging. This word won against 5 other finalists, which included demure, slop, dynamic pricing, romantasy, never heard of that one, and lore.
Romantasy?
Never heard of that in my life.
I feel like I
either.
remember I was telling you about I was listening
Is
to
it
the
erotic
lady,
fantasy novels?
I was listening to the lady talking about anti-wokeness in the book publishing industry today, because I'm going down the rabbit hole on YouTube, and I feel like I heard that one today as like a category in like the book awards, whatever she was talking about.
Oxford University Press says that brain rot gained new prominence in 2024, with its frequency of use increasing from 230% since 2023.
Wow.
I think we were early to the brain rot train. Now, this has raised concerns about the dangers that brain rot and social media overuse poses to Gen Z and Gen Alpha.
Yeah.
And now I'm surprised to report that the Newport Institute, a behavioral health care provider, has begun providing medical treatment for brain rot.
They tell you what causes it and examples and
Yeah.
all of this stuff.
Brain rot is now considered officially a medical condition.
I suppose
that
it's not in
mostly,
the DSM, but
it might be in the coming years, though. It mostly affects Gen Z and Gen Alpha, who've been raised in the digital age. And they define it as a condition of mental fogginess, lethargy, reduced attention span, and cognitive decline that results from an overabundance of screen time.
Yeah. Yep.
Would you actually agree with that?
I mean, I think
Like
that
it's a medical
lot of-
condition?
I think no. I think that if that was a medical condition, then you're doing it to yourself through external factors.
But
right?
a lot of people say that addiction is a disease.
If they're talking about it as an addiction, look, there's also a lot of other things that would go into that they're not talking about. Like, there's great ways to combat that, like getting exercise and eating right and things like that.
Sure.
But it kind of runs contrary to the whole thing.
Medically,
Yeah.
addiction is classified as a disease.
Yes.
I'm not sure I agree with the way that's interpreted always, but like you said, it is something that you're bringing upon yourself by your overconsumption of whatever that may be. And it's not just a substance, it's also a habit like social media doom scrolling.
Social media addiction would run like right next to the idea of brain rot, as like brain rot being an outcome of what happens when you go through severe social media addiction.
It's more of a symptom.
And
than
I mean,
cause.
me and you talk about this all the time. Like, I'll come back from the weekend, I'm like, oh my God, it was so nice. I was not on the internet nearly as much as I am during the week. When we started the show, I didn't have Twitter. Like, I didn't want to use Twitter because I was able to do the work, oddly enough, probably not as well. Like, you just get access to information faster and are able to catch on to trends quicker if you have it. But unfortunately, that's kind of a side effect of this job. And one of those things is like, depending on the days, and I can't tell you why it is. Some days I will scroll a lot. Some days I will scroll almost not at all. But I wouldn't be able to tell you why that is. It's not like the news is particularly more interesting on the days I'm scrolling more. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not like I'm reading it and like, oh my God, there's just so much to read. No, the doom scrolling just happens. But then there's other days where the news is just as uninteresting and I can just put my phone down quicker and pay attention to it less.
Do you think you're addicted to social media?
Yeah.
Do you think you are, Phil?
At least partially.
I don't know how addictive my personality is. The only thing that I've ever been addicted to that was hard to quit was smoking. I used to drink a lot of booze and I stopped that. I've smoked, I used to smoke pot regularly and I stopped that without any kind of issue. So I'm not sure if I have an addictive personality or not. I imagine that I'm addicted to, it's a habit, definitely. I don't know that I'm addicted though.
Most people, I'm guessing, have a latent social media addiction these days, or smartphone addiction, whatever you want to call it, but they wouldn't find out until they attempt to put it out of their life.
Whenever Instagram goes down for 2 hours once in a while.
That's when you find out. You're like having that oh shit moment. And most people are not going to even attempt to root that influence out of their life, myself included. And I can sit here and tell myself it's because of my job.
I was just.
But there are plenty of times as well that I am not using it for work, and I know full well that it's just a stimulation. It's just something in my face.
So like, not to sound too earthy crunchy, but like, there are times where like something will go wrong with like whatever my plans were, and I can't like use the phone or whatever. I'm almost loath to admit this, but like I will sit there and meditate. Like that is really a great use of time to just sit there and kind of be present with like
your thoughts.
Well, no, not your thoughts. Like meditation's different than that, but like sitting there and just being present with your existence sitting there. Like that's kind of like the whole like meditation's not like it's really it's easy, but it's hard. All you're doing is sitting there, and like when your mind starts to wander, just say, hold on a second. No, I'm not letting my mind wander. Actually, I'm thinking about the fact that I'm sitting here. And you just sit there. That's why the whole, like, they tell you, like, to breathe, focus on your breath, because it's just something that you can do. And when your mind starts wandering, you start thinking of other things. My mind is wandering, and start thinking about your breath again. And just sit there and think about the way it feels to sit there, the way that your feet feel, the way that whatever you're sitting on feels, and just think about your breath. And that's all meditating is. And that is a great way to pass time.
But why are you loath to admit that?
Because hippies do it, and I don't like hippies.
I will say
they didn't invent it. It's fine.
There is a difference here. I would say that I fall more into the zombie scrolling category than the doom scrolling category, which it
what
separates
the hell is
here.
the difference?
It says
there's video gaming, zombie scrolling, doom scrolling, and just plain social media addiction.
I'm seeing some spelling errors in this Newport Institute thing. It says the Brainrot, which I assume they mean brain rot, behavior refers to mindless habitual scrolling with no destination mind or benefit derived. When zombie scrolling, you vacantly stare at your phone as you flit from one feed to another. I definitely do that. I think I'm a mixture of that.
Doom scrolling involves searching for distressing information and negative news. Doom scrollers feel an overwhelming desire to be up to date on the latest information, even when it's disturbing.
Like, I don't want it to be disturbing, but I do feel the need to be up on the latest information just because my job requires it.
It just happens to usually be disturbing.
Yes. Yeah.
And I guess the social media addiction habit would be more about checking notifications, checking your comments, your likes. And then gaming, obviously a lot of people let that take way too much time out of their day. I just, I recall you looking at a paper menu, and you admitted that you tried to scroll on it with your finger.
Yes, I did. Yes, that was true. It was laminated, but yes.
You were looking at a physical menu, and your brain like went to the place where you're looking at a screen.
But remember,
expected it to move.
Part of the reason that happened though was because I had just been looking at the menu on my phone.
Yes.
I called the menu for the place that we were at up on my phone.
I'll grant you that.
And I was looking at it, scrolling on the menu, and then when they brought out the regular menus, I picked that up and I tried to scroll it. But again, that is the first and only time that it had ever happened, and like I said, I
hopefully the last.
Yeah, I know, right? And I do think that it was. I think that it was because of the fact that I had just been looking at a regular phone or looking at my phone.
The only similar experience I've had is I do dream in screen mode.
Yeah,
like I have dreams where
you've spoken of that before.
I am not looking at a phone in my dream.
Yeah,
I am looking at what's in the phone. Like I'm scrolling, and that's my entire vision. Like there's no peripheral image of me like holding a phone, looking at a laptop. It's just a screen.
Yeah.
And that's all I see. And that says a lot about the way I relate to it in real life.
And at least for me, given my attention span in general, like it's more noticeable even away from my phone when I'm watching TV or movies, where it's like, I won't even watch a full episode. I'll watch 20 minutes of one episode, go to another show, watch 20 minutes of that, and back.
How about Lent is coming up? For Lent, you can give up stopping an episode in the middle. That would be...
I could try that.
That would be a test for you.
Olivia would love that.
Yeah.
Olivia. No,
I'm
okay.
sure
So,
she
so
would.
here's the thing. When we sit down to watch something together, I don't do that. The point
okay.
is like I know she wants
But
to
even
watch
when
it.
you're on your own.
But if I'm on my own, I would have to make the conscious effort to not just be like last night I started rewatching Black Panther, and I got about halfway through, and I'm like, I not even halfway. It was at the part where they're chasing Claw through it was like South Korea in the car, and the chase just went on a little too long. I'm like, I've seen this. It was better in the theater, and I just moved on. And
you have to commit.
And you have to commit to that, right?
To whatever it
is. No, even before that, I was having my my moment where I'm watching the changing aspect ratio, and that's what I'm focusing on, because the Disney Plus version of it has incorporated a bunch of their IMAX footage, so the black bars would show up and disappear, and I was like, I was like counting them and seeing where they went and not paying attention to what I'm watching, and it's just a habit of my poor attention span, and for me. When I'm rewatching stuff, and this kind of goes back to the addiction stuff, when I was still using substances, meaning downers, I could sit there and watch the same show the whole way through, over and maybe not the same one, but go from show to show and never flip between anything because I was suppressing my energy. I was suppressing everything, so I could just sit there and basically be vegetative and take in what I was watching passively. When I got sober, that got a lot harder. When I was young, I would talk about when I was younger, I'd say, what is it going to be like once I get sober? Because there's such a gap there that the person I was beforehand and the person you are afterwards when you're much older are very, very different. And the last thing I could think about, they talk about how if you go through trauma, you kind of stop developing at that age. I don't know if that's what happened to me, but attention span wise, my attention span was always bad. But first of all, years of ADHD meds suppressed by downers meant that there was some facsimile of an attention span that is not there anymore. And everything I do now means that to focus, at least at work, when I'm prepping the show, when I'm doing work afterwards, when we're organizing everything, scheduling things, that's all stuff that I've had to learn how to do. Otherwise, and it's because it's work. And if it's not done right, you get in trouble. At home, there are no such limitations on whether I watch the same thing properly or not. Nobody's going to care, but it does myself a disservice. It harms me to not try to focus on things more properly.
So maybe that would be a good practice
idea for
in
Lent.
Mindfulness and at least being present and committing to what you planned to do for a certain period of time.
Yeah.
We could armchair a psychologist about this for hours, I'm sure, but the main takeaway here is that we are cooked, our brains are rotted, and there is no going back. Let's finish the super chats. Corn Pop.
Cheery.
Corn Pop said, how do I call in? I don't do gay shit, and I have a phone. We have a Discord, and if you're a member of the Discord, then you can go to our call-in
Why
channel.
did you say, not... Cool, you don't do gay shit. That has nothing to do with calling in.
If you do gay shit, you're still welcome to send us a voicemail. We may or may not listen to it.
I so don't understand that.
Yeah, he's a character. James Coderidis said, Phil, ever go back and listen to that first Shadows Fall record? Alternate timeline has you and fellas in Shadows releasing Anti-Fragile in 2025.
I don't think that I've listened to that record in well over a decade. I might have listened to a song in the past 10 years, but definitely not listened to the whole record. So
Greg Duvier said, Phil, did your current girlfriend know you were the lead singer for All That Remains before you started dating?
Yes, she did. Yes.
Corey Anderson said, Swift is the devil. She's okay with destroying families. She probably sacrifices babies to Moloch. Stop listening to Taylor. Listen to All That Remains.
I agree. Listen to All That Remains, but the rest of it, that was a lot. That was a lot.
Yeah. So just, listen to both.
That's
I
good.
guess.
I mean, that's good. That's good.
Or just listen to whatever you like. And if you don't like Taylor Swift, that's
No,
fine.
they listen to All That Remains.
Pat the Plumber sent us a 20. When I was using, I had no cable, so I spent the whole summer watching Freaks and Geeks on DVD.
There you go.
It's a good show.
Yeah, I never had cable, so I like all the shows that I really, really loved and I know a lot about. I just bought the season DVDs, and I still to this day miss not being able to listen to the audio commentaries on a lot of them.
Did you watch Freaks and Geeks?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nate said, James Coteritis just saw Manowar's first U.S. show in 10 years in Brooklyn.
Nice.
Aside from Eric's godlike vocals, these guys need to be in PCC's Cringe of the Day.
Probably true.
They're cringe?
Man-O-War?
Are they
Yeah,
cringe?
they're cringe.
How so?
So they wear loincloths. Now, I don't know what they look like today.
This is their shtick.
Yeah.
That they just do that.
Yeah, they're the record covers. Yeah, they're pretty cringy, man.
Well, why the loincloth?
Okay, so they're an 80s band, and that was their shtick back in the 80s.
Okay.
I don't know if they still. I don't know. They were really, really homoerotic. And yeah, they used to wear loincloths and or at least their album covers had like just dudes in loincloths and stuff. So
not even them, like other dudes in
they were
loincloths.
drawings of dudes, and they might have been drawings of them. I'm not sure.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, maybe if you send us a cringe, we'll consider it. Corey Anderson said, Philium, who would you rather like to have as a guest vocalist on an All That Remains song? Rob Halford, Corey Taylor, or Lynn Strait? Yes, I know Lynn is dead.
Man. It's between Rob Halford. It would have to be Rob Halford, because Rob's like, he's the metal god. He's, Judas Priest was a massively influential band for me when I was growing up. So it would have to be Judas. It would have to be Rob. Yeah.
Corey Anderson said, my wife pays sometimes, I pay sometimes, no big deal. I mean, isn't it just like your money? It's just like both of your money. Corey Anderson
Mary,
said,
I'm going to text you a picture of Man-O-War from the
of the
80s.
Loincloths.
It's a loinclothy picture, yes, very
All right.
loinclothy.
Corey Anderson said, Benny Blanco is gay, Selena is his beard.
Well, if she doesn't have a prenup, that's a very expensive cover job if they
Wow.
get divorced. So
I'm sure she does have an ironclad one. She's
Better
not
be-
about to give up 500 mil. No. Shane H. Wilder said, damn it, Corey. Wait, never mind. You might be right. Right about what? Benny Blanco? Corey Anderson said, Benny doesn't shower. Selena goes. Okay, I'm not going to say that. Shane H. Wilder said, okay, damn it, Corey. Agree. Zach Yandel said, y'all, where does TMI start with social media posts? Ooh. Spicy.
Well, I mean, I don't know where it starts. Starting is tough.
Depends on who you are.
Yeah, it depends on who you are. I mean,
if you're a normal person, you follow people who you know, and people you know follow you, and you don't have a platform, I guess. There's not a lot that could go as TMI, right?
too much information.
Yes.
yeah.
Like about what?
Like what means you're
That's what we're
oversharing
asking.
with people.
like not just like gross stuff, just in general.
Yeah.
I mean, I find that line pretty easily for me. Like, there's definitely I'm pretty good about.
With the consideration that a bunch of people you don't know follow you.
Twitter is mostly just social media, is all just stuff about movies and television for me. Very rarely outside of that.
Mm-hmm. For me, pretty much anything that is related to my personal life whatsoever, you're only going to be hearing my opinions and seeing my outfits. Yeah. And that's it.
There's a 20 there.
We have 2, I think. Kenneth Hart said, Phil, I'll tell my wife you said farming is manly, but she won't believe me because I told her Forever Cold was about her and to leave the thermostat alone. See, now you're breaking up marriages. You're just like Taylor Swift. You're just like the rest of them.
That's Mary in this studio, Forever Cold.
I am Forever Cold.
She is.
Yeah. Was that the only one? I hope I'm not missing one. Corey Anderson said, Shane, someone had to say it. # it is gross. I agree. It's gross that he doesn't shower. To be fair to Benny, there are no good-looking men. Well, you're a heterosexual man, I would guess, so I'm not surprised that you would think that. But there are good-looking men. Mondo said, my grandma would beg to differ, Corey. What? 420 Funny said, Phil, my playlist went from Trivium to All That Remains as I hit a 405-pound DLPR to Divine. Thank you for the test boost, dude.
Very good to hear. Very good to hear. All That Remains does increase your test, and it is better to listen to All That Remains than Trivium.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Isn't Cornhub already Brainrot?" But well, yes. Technically. 200 Watt Studio said Amish wasn't a top search term on Cornhub. No, just Mormon this time. We'll see about next year. Not That John Stewart said, "I wailed out and got the colored vinyl hoodie beanie combo."
Yes.
You're welcome.
Thank you so very much.
Wailed out?
Wild out.
A wild out.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the Man of War pictures you sent me. It's definitely homoerotic.
Yeah.
There's baby oil involved.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I wouldn't say they're cringe of the day, though. That's just kind of 80s vibes.
There was a lot more skin in Man of War photo shoots than most other hair bands from the 80s. They were very into taking their shirt off. Were
they like a polycule kind of situation?
I don't think that those things existed in
They
the
wouldn't
80s.
have called it that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were way more taking off their clothes. It was like a whole band full of what's his name? The drummer from Motley Crue.
Were the fans gay?
Is
that why they liked it?
I don't think so. I don't
know.
think so.
Nate said, "I'm pretty sure Hawk Tua did some photo shoots for a site called Fansly. Maybe it was fake. I didn't investigate."
Well, that's one of the depressing things about all of it now, right? Like, if it's fake,
You'll never know.
you'll never know, and people will then just assume it was real.
I doubt that was real, though. I feel like we would have heard about that and talked about it. Shane H. Wilder said, "It's vinyl of color, not that John Stewart."
Yeah.
200 Watt Studio said, "Buttons, snaps, bare ankle, lace bonnet, buggy whip." Oh no. Kenny Ramey said, "Phil, I just ordered my copies. Vinyl, let's go."
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Brian Bledsoe said, "Hello everyone, listening from my semi. Have either of you been to the Yum Brands all-in-one trifecta of KFC, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut?"
I mean,
Wait, there are KFC, Taco Bell, Pizza Huts?
that does sound
in the
a
world?
lot
Probably.
like heaven.
Yeah, because the thing is, there's KFC Taco Bells and there's
Yeah.
and there's KFC Pizza Huts because they're all owned by PepsiCo.
Yeah.
So I guess there would be a trifecta.
Yeah.
I have not, though. I don't go to KFC or Pizza Hut, though,
I
so
imagine
it doesn't concern me.
I imagine that the sun shines brightly on that place every day.
But I maintain the Taco Bell from KFC Taco Bells always tastes better.
Does it?
It's just like it marinates in the same like cooking oil. It like makes the Taco Bell kind of taste like fried chicken.
I liked it when Target had like the Pizza Hut had like a Pizza Hut in it, the one where I used to live.
Oh yeah.
And I would get the
That was a thing.
breadsticks. I would get just the breadsticks from there.
You wouldn't even get pizza from Pizza Hut?
I mean,
You would just buy
I
bread.
would just get the breadsticks. Well, and
That's kind of crazy.
and the marinara.
That's kind of crazy. Brian Bledsoe, Corey Anderson said, "I feel like Reagan knifed Brett in the back." Yeah, I heard some rumors about that. You should write a fan fiction about that. Corey Anderson said there are mother and daughter corn actors called the Sextons that have done scenes together. It's the more degenerate. Oh, is that more degenerate than Lily 100? # gross, # the smell. I think that might be more degenerate. Yeah. Thank you. It's a tough call.
The dogs are eating the cats. Eat the cat. Eat the cat. We're eating the dogs. We're eating the cats. Eat the cat.
I think we also found out that Lily Phillips' mom is her
Yeah.
finance manager. So she's one of the payrolled employees who profited
So
off of her
gross.
daughter getting ran through. Lovely.
Well, she took Kim Kardashian's mom as some type of influence, I'm sure.
Exactly. D-Man said gardening is gay, but is landscaping gay?
No.
No, just gardening. Yeah, just gardening. They're like, "Oh, I'm going to like make my little carrots and I'm going to put my carrots in a little salad. I'm going to plant roses because they're so pretty." It's kind of gay. Is that a crazy take? I feel like it's kind of gay.
I have no opinions on this.
Corey Anderson said, "Who is more bald, Tim or Phil?"
I'm not super bald. Like,
Yeah,
I shave my head, but it's like,
it's just thinner.
it's just thin. So, and it's honestly, it's super easy to take care of. Like, You just shave it every once a week or whatever. I don't have to worry about doing my hair or anything. It's the easiest thing in the world. So.
Would you ever get hair transplant
I
surgery?
mean, I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, bald works for you. If you don't do it, it's fine. But
I mean, I am blessed with a great shaped head.
Yeah.
Right? It's not weird. It's not lumpy. I don't have anything that I'm trying to hide. It's like not anything crazy going on. I've got tons and tons and tons of videos and band pictures, like official like band pictures where I don't have a hat on, so like it doesn't bother me. But it's like, so I don't know if I would get hair because then I have to take care of it.
Yeah.
I just wake up like this.
I mean,
you literally do though.
Yeah, but you got to get haircuts and stuff like that.
Yes,
It's
I
like,
do. I have to go once a month to get my hair.
Yeah, I mean, it's way easier. I just shave it every once a week, just shave it, so I don't know. Maybe I've thought about it because it would be cool to have an option. You know what I mean? To be like, hey, I want to do something. Because I wear
the rest of the time you can just have a buzz cut.
Exactly, and I can wear a hat like I do all the time, So
there's a 20 there.
I've thought about it. I don't know. It's a lot of money, man.
The surgery, you mean? Or the haircuts?
Yeah, well, the surgery.
Both?
It's like the surgery's like $10,000 to get good.
If you go to Turkey, I heard it's cheaper.
I would not do that.
No, you wouldn't. I heard they're reliable.
No, I got a friend that I have a friend that had it done, and I'm not going to say who it is, but he had it done, and his looks great. So I'd go to his doctor. So
Gordon Shumway said, "Mary, they're called Kentaco huts. I've super chatted about them before."
Sounds like a magical place.
That's actually real. Kentaco hut. Wow. I wonder what the closest one is. We can do a pilgrimage. Mr. Moose Knuckle said, question for the panel. What is a series or movie you started hate watching but ended up getting fully invested into?
One,
Velma.
Agatha.
I'm just kidding.
For like a little bit.
Yeah.
Not the whole way through. But I wouldn't say, like, I don't actually hate watch anything. I go into everything hoping to be pleasantly surprised. By episode 2 of WandaVision, I'm like, look, or of Agatha, I'm like, look, this is clearly not for me, but, Catherine Hahn is funny, and she's got great comedic value, and her physical comedy and the way she acts is great, so, I didn't finish it. I got through episode 7. I never made it to the part where, it was fine. It was fine. But I could tell that for the people that it was made for, they probably were having a field day. They probably loved it.
I don't think that this has happened to me.
Nothing that you...
I mean, hate watching is fun. If I'm watching something I hate, though, like, just actually hate, that's not fun. I mean, obviously, Madam Web. Madam Web was so fun.
I ended up loving...
That was so fun.
I didn't love Madam Web, but I loved the experience of how bad it was.
I have been considering hate watching Sex in the City, though. Like,
there you go.
I think that might be a pretty entertaining show and a peek into, like, what the culture was like back when it came out.
Yeah. Sarah mentioned Down for Love.
Down for Love?
Yeah.
That's not hate watching. That's just good. That's just entertainment. That's just good, wholesome, at-home entertainment. Like that, I love. I love what is the other one? Love on the Spectrum.
Love on the Spectrum.
So good. To me, cringe content is not a hate watch. That's a love watch.
Okay.
No Control said...
MILF Manor?
Yeah, MILF Manor. I have not ventured into that yet. Not that cesspool. No Control said, I have a disease and the only cure is more cowbell. Is that an SNL reference? Tacty Platty said, hell yeah, Phil. I also don't like the hippies.
Yeah. I never... do. I mean, look, you can be a hippie. It's fine. But just I don't ever want to be thought of as a hippie.
Shane H. Wilder said, one issue is that people are scared to sit in silence without outside stimulation. We're all guilty to some extent. Take time to sit in silence.
Not a bad idea.
Mondo said, Phil, flat or incline bench, barbell or dumbbell?
I did chest today, and I did both flat and incline. And then I did cable flies, like lower and raised cable flies. So, and then I did some tricep stuff.
Not that John Stewart said, no, I meant whale. It's a gamer euphemism for people who spend a lot. Little fish versus big fish versus whales. I had not heard that before. Greg Duvier said, I understood the Trivium reference.
There you go.
Corey Anderson said, Mary, would you do a video with Alex Rosen? The guy who catches PDF files? Should I?
Mary's running after them like, yeah, get him.
I don't think I want to. Like, I don't really want to be around PDF files in general.
Yeah.
I think I even had to just never, like, I was watching some of his videos for a minute, and they were just too infuriating. Like, knowing that these people are out there multiple times convicted and released from jail. It's too dark for me. Like, it's too bleak to even think about that reality. But I guess it's, you know, cool that he does that. Headbutt Studio said, putting food in the dirt and seeing it grow into more food is great. It literally sustains human life. It's not gay. Well, you sound angry. Enjoy your tomatoes. Enjoy your carrots. I really hope you do. Corey Anderson said, Phil, are you still in contact with your former squad members from the Corps? Mary, what are your hobbies? Church doesn't count.
No, I haven't spoken to those guys in ages and ages and ages.
Okay. My hobbies, if church doesn't count, honestly, it's been a lot of church lately. But reading, writing mostly.
Mature.
I just like journaling, which is kind of like, I'm loath to admit that, as you were with meditating. I do like journaling.
You do?
Yeah.
Does it help you kind of understand your thoughts better?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's like also a sense of completionism, because I feel like I haven't thought something through until I've really committed to it on paper.
I mean, even like I've even found that like thinking it doesn't do enough. Like sometimes a thought seems completely rational in my head, and then as soon as I try to say it out loud, I find that it's not as rational as I thought it was.
What else? I really just like talking to people. I don't know if that's a hobby, but I'm a woman, so I enjoy talking to people. Shane H. Wilder said, Mary needs to watch the Anonymous reality show. I feel like this has been recommended on the show before, but I don't remember exactly what it is. Is it the one where they like try to trick each other? It's a social competition series where 12 players live together in a shared space, interacting both in real life and through a digital platform. In anonymous mode, players communicate behind masks using handles to conceal their identities. The goal is to stay anonymous and remain in the game while advancing your strategies and alliances. So you have to hide your identity and not allow anyone to guess who you are. I guess that sounds interesting. I'm more into dating reality shows, though. It's more dramatic. No Control said farming-based, gardening gay. Yeah, I agree with that. But I would do neither of those things. Actually, I would be more likely to garden for fun than farm for sustenance.
Yes, 100%.
I would prefer the impractical.
I'm saying for you, I 100% like that. That falls in line 100%. There's another one there from Omega Red Fan.
I ordered pizza once and the delivery man called me a hippie because he saw my Trippy Spencer's poster on the wall.
I like that you had a pizza delivery guy who was just kind of mouthy and just decided to like talk shit.
All right, no tip for you.
Hippie.
You got a poster from Spencer's and actually like displayed that in your home. It's kind of embarrassing. Shane H. Wilder said, is church a hobby? I would say it is a way of life. Yeah, fair enough. I just mean like that's where I spend some of my free time.
Yeah.
So I would kind of count it as a hobby.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I said just hello, chat, and chat is currently waving back to me, which is nice.
We have a few minutes to spare.
Yes, we do have a few minutes to spare after what Shane H. Wilder said. Do you have any, like, okay, so church, if that's not a hobby, journaling and anything like that, is there anything that you do more of now that you didn't do before you started working here? Like, is there anything you've, like, lost interest in
That
years?
lost interest
Yeah, like that you might have done more of when you were younger that you don't do as much now? Because the hobbies change over time.
I don't know. I think that I've realized just how much time I've poured into the internet since forever.
Yeah.
Since forever. And I can sit and regret that, but if I hadn't been chronically online for many, many years, many formative years, I would not be doing this right now.
Yeah.
So I'm actually grateful that I became so chronically online because it allows me to
Don't
do
let
what I do
everybody
now.
tell you not to follow your dreams.
Unfortunately, yeah, like in high school, I spent all of my free time watching YouTubers and shit posting just constantly. It
Shit
was
posting is awesome.
and shit posting is a hobby. I don't care what anyone says.
There you go.
And I surely could have used my free time in those years in a way that's technically better, more edifying. But I also am kind of glad that it worked out that way.
Well, it works because like me and you have vastly different interests. Like the stuff that interests me on this show tends to be more related to like Hollywood as an industry, and the stuff that you're interested in tends to be more related to
Being
like
nosy about people's personal
interpersonal
lives.
stuff. Which like anytime we talk about it, I'm like, well, how does that relate back to? Mary's like, no. Let's just talk about this shit. Like, we don't need to ask broader questions. Let's just laugh at them.
Yeah, I guess I'm the more nosy
Yeah.
of the two of us.
Well, because anytime we tell these stories, I'm like, I don't know. I wasn't there. What the fuck do I know?
I'm like, no, he probably said this. It's perfect to have like the male female dynamic on this show. I don't think the show would work with two girls or two guys as much as it works
It
this way.
might work with two girls. I do think when it's a boys cast, I do think that some of the things that we discuss don't quite fit with the guys.
What do you mean? Like for instance, tomorrow I do want to talk about. We're going to be talking about. Actually, no, Black Superman. I'm saving.
Well, yeah,
for
I'm going to
a
be here
solo
tomorrow
video.
too. So you should see
Because Mary will not be here tomorrow.
Yes.
Mary will be gone. So tomorrow, I do want to talk about Olivia Wilde and the idea of somebody working in Hollywood at the big budget production level saying that the art matters more than the audience because you don't really get to make that decision when you're taking the money from a studio to make something for millions and millions of dollars and then pretend like the audience doesn't matter. Like, that's the stuff that I'm interested in, but I fully understand that that is not necessarily the widest range of audience for us, and that's more niche.
It's fine. You're just more intellectual.
No. It's because broad ideas allow my brain to actually go more abstract because I have a harder time pinning down, insane, like intrinsic details. We're also going to be talking about DEI writers being pushed out of Hollywood. Eva Longoria is talking about that right now.
We have
and more Diddy allegations.
Several new super chats. Mondo said, Mary, favorite reality dating shows. Well, I did mention Love on the Spectrum.
I was just gonna say.
Obviously, I think that might be like I'm so excited for a new season of that.
They're asking if Mary's just going to be gone Fridays now. No. This is
This is for an unexpected twist of events. I'm doing a media thing. Then other than that, 90 Day Fiancé, obviously, and all of its spin-offs.
There are spin-offs?
There are spin-offs on spin-offs on
Good
spin-offs.
grief.
And I have watched all of them. I'll just stick with those. Those are the top two. Simon Ho. Wait, where'd it go? I missed it.
Yeah.
Is it gone?
No, the Simon Ho.
Nobody can top Ariana Grande's new bromance.
I mean, her. What do you mean?
Bromance?
Her and Cynthia Erivo. That's just weird.
The last Hollywood friendship I want to see is Benny Blanco and Ethan Slater.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get those two disgusting men in a room together. Pop Culture Junkie said John Warnock, the actual inventor of the PDF file, passed away in August 2023, and given the second life of the name is now rolling over in his grave.
I do believe that Mary might have been the one who created that. I do.
I deserve credit.
I do think that was
I started
hers.
saying that before everyone.
I really do believe that.
But I won't get the credit, and we won't get the silver play button we're put upon. Shane H. Wilder said, Mary is correct. Shitposting is a hobby, which reminds me, I haven't called Bertman gay today. BRB. Yeah, duty calls. Pat the Plumber said, hobbies I dropped, reading and crocheting. I will pick both back up eventually.
There you go.
Fair.
I think
Okay.
we're all caught up on the super
All right, guys. Before we go, would everybody please, if they have not yet, hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed here yet already. Help us grow it. It is the best thing for us if you both subscribe and then share the videos out with your friends and your family and your loved ones. people you like, people you don't like. And remember to check out the segments as well. We'll have new segments coming out at 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. tonight. Phil, thank you.
Thank you very much. I am Phil That Remains on Twix, where you can subscribe to me. You can also pre-order the new record, Anti-Fragile. It'll be available on January 31st. You can go to my X account, the pin tweet has the link to pre-order. We are running out of the colored vinyl, so if you want to get one of the colored vinyls, you got to get them quick. You can, so like I said, you can subscribe to me on X. You can follow me on Instagram at Phil That Remains Official. You can follow the band on YouTube, Amazon Music, Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora, and Deezer. The band is called All That Remains. We have 4 new videos that came out earlier this year that are all going to be on the new record. One for a song called Forever Cold, one for Let You Go, No Tomorrow Divine, and you can get those all on the previously mentioned platform. So don't forget, The Left Lane is for crime.
The zooms in the Divine music video, for some reason, they're just so satisfying to watch.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shane H. Wilder said, just so everyone knows, I shitpost out of love. I don't. I shitpost out of hate, but I love that for you. High Voltage 75 said, when is your last day before Christmas break, and will we get an extended ep like last year? I don't even remember what last year.
Yeah, we could do a 3-hour.
What happened last year?
Do you want to do that?
Would that be on the 20th?
The 20th.
Next Friday. That is
That's
the last
Saturday.
day before we take Christmas off.
The 19th then.
Is-
Whatever next Friday is.
Yeah, next Friday is the 20th.
Oh yeah, not Friday is the 20th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to do? Let's do a 3-hour next Friday. That would be
3
good.
hours next Friday, last episode.
Do you want to
before we're
do
off.
2 to 5 or do you want to do 3 to 6? Because we had this problem before. I would rather do 3 to 6.
I would rather do 2 to 5 because I would have to travel.
Are you flying?
The next day.
All right. Well, it's. I mean, I don't know when we're leaving the next day. We're driving, so we can do 2. We can do 2 to 5 if you want to do 2 to 5.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, then I guess it's set.
Okay.
Now you know. Skateman 2010 said, Phil, will you be selling any signed copies?
I don't think we have any signed copies available right now. No.
And Simon Ho said, no, her BF is the spitting image of her brother. I forgot about that. Ethan Slater looks creepily similar to Ariana's brother, Frankie Grande. And it's incredibly Freudian. Shane H. Wilder said, it's not colored vinyl. It is vinyl of color. LOL. Oh, I get it now.
Okay.
That's the PC term for it. You guys can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
All right. I don't know if I'm going to do the NPR outro to get us to the 5th crisis.
We
party,
are very
but,
close to the 5th crisis party, though.
But guys, if you would like to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and on Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. This show is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would prefer to listen rather than watch this show, and you can rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify, helps the show greatly to do that, so thank you. And if you want to follow the show on social media, Twix at popculture_show, Facebook and not TikTok, because we were banned on TikTok, at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, remember, Mary will be gone tomorrow, and then she will be back on Monday, and then we will be back to a regular schedule next week, Monday through Friday. A long episode next Friday, and then after that, we will be off for the holidays, I believe, through this. We'll start that Monday the 6th into the new year, so just a heads up on all of that. But guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.